This conference will now be recorded.
Hello. Yeah. How about now, people? Can you hear me? How about now, people? Can you hear me?
Yes.
So we'll continue the session, people, with the identity and access management topic once again. And as part of the IAM topic, we will be exploring a lot more about the other topics that involve about roles, about writing out the policies. A quick summary of what we have done in the previous session with regards to IAM. So let me pick IAM. So as part of the IAM, we have focused on creating the groups where we categorize the nature of all the users which share this common features are categorized into a group, and then we have focused on creating multiple groups. For an example, I have created a group of administrators where I've given the custom policy, where I've given a policy that is attached is the administrator policy. Administrator access, where the administrator access gives access to every resource, and he will be able to perform all the actions on that resource. Right after that, we are focused on attaching or creating users and attaching the making that user part of the account, where he has given the or where he has got assigned to administrator group, and as part of the administrator, the user got access to methods. One is the console method, which is the UI, and the other method was part of the uh, programmatic access. As part of the programmatic access, you might have seen the access key ID and the secret key and the usage of it. I hope you people configured your AWS CLI commands. If you have done it, can expect a quick confirmation from everyone there regarding the AWS CLI method of configuration. Okay, fine. We'll also explore a lot more commands and how to retrieve those relevant commands for your usage as well. Okay, so let's continue the topic, people. So today, what I'll focus is, in case in a project we come across a scenario where we have to give access to specific resources, where we focus giving access to specific resources, and where we kind of allow to focus on writing our own kind of customized policy. So those policies will focus, and we will continue the discussion further. So a scenario goes like this. I'll open up my S3. Right now I'm in my account. Right now I've logged in as a user into my account, which is my this is my root account. I didn't log in into my root account. I logged in as an IAM user. People, please do notice that. And after the login, after I logged in as after my instead of using the root account, I've logged in as an IAM user, where you guys can see Rajalla-admin is the login that I'm using to log into my account. So I would request all of you people to do the same. Go ahead and get your account created with your access key ID and secret key ID, and make sure that you configure your AWS CLI and also try logging into the console, not with the root account, but using IAM user. There are plenty of advantages using it because it makes your account to be very much safe and secure, the root account, and it is a good practice to minimize the usage of root account. Okay, now coming back to the uh, buckets. Now it's time that I don't want my user, whoever the user that I'll create now, he shouldn't be able to access all the buckets, but he should be able to access the contents of this specific bucket. That is like he should be able to access the objects inside this bucket. So let me put a dummy file if possible, and a file, and just put this file for now. Any file, just a file. Okay. Now the time for me is just to go ahead and allow the user that he should not be able to access contents of any of these buckets except the specific bucket. Now let's go ahead and achieve this method of writing the policy for this. So for this kind of policy, I'll just start to go into my IAM. It is time for me to go ahead and IAM. And here you see the user for it. Let's continue first the user selection, and let's create a user. Click on user. Okay, now I would give this username as, let's say, any kind of support people do you need? Because there is a background noise, I would request the person to go on mute.
Sir, this is my first day. I cannot understand anything. What are you talking about? This is my demo class. Please orient me.
Okay, so okay, give me a moment, people. Just give me a moment. Can you please reach out to your point of contact, whoever has helped you to join this session? Can you please reach out to them? Yeah.
How can I contact him? Uh, I can contact him, but he has given his today's link from that one
Yeah.
he has given. He has
So
contacted me on Instagram.
that's what. Go and please reach out to him. I think they would be giving you the link and as well as the contact. Reach out to him. I'll tell the point of contact to reach you. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So apologies, guys. Sorry for the inconvenience. Okay. Coming back to this, let's get started with the user creation and let's follow whatever the possible resources. So let me give a simple name. Let's say name of the user is Ravi, and I would like this user to get access to only specific buckets. So let's continue with the process that we have. So first I think I'll give is a programmatic access. And after that, I'll give him console access, and I'll allow him to change his password. For him, I'll give some temporary password. This is what we normally do for him. So next, I would go ahead and select it. Now, what I want is I want to attach a policy for him. The policy goes like this. If you look at the policy, right now I don't have any kind of policy that I've written for myself. That is like to my requirement, no specific policy. What kind of policies do I have? The policy that I have are specific. So I look for S3 specific. So in S3, I have policies that are related to Redshift S3 role. No, this is not our policy that is closer to my requirement. S3 full access, I don't think so. Or if you want, I can give S3 full access. That means he should be able to access all the buckets. The answer is no. I only want him to read. Yes, I want to make Ravi to read the buckets. But in 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 context, my requirement is not as simple as that he should be able to read all the buckets as well. I'll explain you. Let me just select with the option read only access. If you look into this process, you see it is giving access to all the buckets. What I want to do, I want to do a limitation. I want to bring a limitation for this user. What kind of limitation? I'll explain you in a minute. So next, I'll continue with this review, and I'll go ahead and create a user for Ravi. Now Ravi will be able to read all my buckets. Why? His role that he got is read-only access. What is that, people? Ravi can read all of my buckets. S3 read-only access. Now let's log in as Ravi from another browser. I pick up a browser like Chrome. So it's like the Firefox is my account where I've logged in, and the Chrome is the account where I'll be logging as Ravi. Just go ahead and log in as Ravi. This is the login that Ravi will use. The username is Ravi. Temporary password. Go ahead and confirm the password. Now, what is my aim? My aim is Ravi should be able to access specific buckets. Okay. But in this current scenario, you'll notice that Ravi is able to see the contents of the other bucket. See that Ravi is able to see the contents of the other bucket. Right now, there are no objects in it. If you want, I'll upload another set of objects here under my desktop. Add this file. Okay, I'm doing a mistake from my end. I'll not be able to upload this file because Ravi is the user who can only do a file upload, can only read the file. So let me just get this operation done from my root account, from my IAM account. So What I'm trying to bring people to your notice is that user like Ravi should not access contents of other bucket. That is what my aim. Upload. Upload. So there are two dummy files. Now you can see from my Firefox, I've uploaded two files as part of one bucket, and right now I do host about 6 buckets. My aim is Ravi should get access to one specific bucket like our Kumar bucket. Inside that bucket, he should be able to access the objects. That's all. I don't want Ravi to access other buckets, contents of the other bucket. But in reality, if I go ahead and look in, Ravi is able to access buckets, and Ravi is also able to access the contents of the bucket. See that? Let me just pick another bucket. See, Ravi is able to see the contents of the bucket. I don't want Ravi to do that. If I look a little more into this system, the number that R Kumar bucket, he should only access this bucket. That's all. He should not access contents of any other bucket. So now it is my responsibility as an admin or a cloud engineer. It is my responsibility as an architect, as my responsibility to design such kind of architecture where user like Ravi, the group of Ravi, does he belong, to be able to access that specific set of bucket and contents in it. A big question for me that how can I achieve this? If I look at the underlying policy for the Ravi, the policy just speaks about read-only access. Fine, that's something half of my job is done. But the problem for me is he's accessing all the specific resources. I want to make sure this policy gets trimmed down only to a specific bucket. You should be able to access the contents of a specific bucket. People, the general policy, the policy that is given, Amazon's customized policy or Amazon policy specifies for general purpose. It is designed for a general purpose. So when you want to write your own set of policies meeting your requirement, you will fall under customer managed policies. You will start writing under customer managed policies. Where does they fall? When you click on policy, you see an option called create a policy. First, let's go and click create a policy. Under the creation of a policy, this policy is nothing but the policy that you are writing or creating for yourself based upon your requirement. So what are we trying to achieve is we are trying to achieve the writing of a policy which does need or which does meet our requirement. So how can I achieve it to get it done? Two methods. One, by writing the JSON method. One method is by writing the JSON script for it. Or if you're not comfortable by writing a JSON script, you can get started with the visual editor script method. So let's first explore JSON method of writing it, and let's check whether the policy can get through or no. So people, as you are aware, there are multiple ways to get it done. So I'll give you all the possible methods that can help you to write better policies day by day. So the first method I would suggest all of you people is pick by the documentation. Documentation is the best way to get your customized policies. So how to go ahead is access to specific S3 bucket. So this is my requirement. I'm writing a requirement specific to my requirement. I'm writing a policy specific to my requirement. So let's start to look for policies. One thing is, people, you might not get 100% customized policy to your requirement. You can get the policies specific to requirement, maybe closer enough. So what I mean is, this is a requirement. You might not find always 100% closer policy, or just a policy that you have as part of a requirement. You may not find a policy, but you will find some relevant policies. So let's start looking to the AWS documentation. I feel this page you can clearly see docs.amazon.com, where it says allows read and write access to objects inside an S3 bucket. So let me just go ahead and understand what exactly this policy is all about. So if we start to look into the process, and on the other side also notice that read and write to a specific bucket, read and write to a specific bucket, even including the console. Two policies that are almost closer to my requirement. What does this show? This example shows how you might create a policy that allows read and as well as write access to objects to a specific bucket, because I want my user to get access to the contents of the bucket, so that I want my user that he can write, he can access the contents, he can add some content into it to a specific bucket. So very much closer to my requirement. So there is a ready-made policy that is given to me, and this is a statement which is written in JSON. So what I'll do is I'll pick this JSON, there's a copy option. I'll just copy this and I'll go into my policy editor. This is the policy editor that you can write here. Once you write the policy, you see now you have to customize the policy as per the given requirement. So in this policy, people, the policy gets started with the version, which I just copied from the documentation. After that, you can see there is a statement. There is a comma. After that, there is a statement. In the statement, you can see there's an array. Array of what? Two objects. Object number one, object number two. Right? Two objects inside an array. So there is a new thing that you can see here called SID. What do you mean by that? SID means, in order to identify your different objects, we give a meaningful name, something like SID, statement identification. So for this statement, you can give a name so that you can identify this is the name of the object. There is another statement, SID2. So instead of just giving the statements, the statement identification, even you can write anything, even you can even do a number to identify. First statement. This is my second statement. What is the purpose of this SID? The purpose of the SID is to identify the different objects, like list objects in the bucket. So I'm listing the objects inside the bucket. It gives a meaning, it gives a clear understanding of what the statement is all about. So once you have understood it, it's once again the effect that we are trying to bring is allow. What kind of action that the user can perform? He can perform list that bucket, and after listing the bucket, what kind of resource that you want to list. You want to go ahead and list the bucket. So here we have to mention this bucket name is a variable. So go ahead and pick the name of the bucket that you want to give access. This is the bucket that I want my user to get access. So just give a name. So I'll continue the resource. So next, after that is the resource name, which is bucket hyphen name, followed by the objects. So what is the difference between statement number one, which is the first statement, listing objects in the bucket, and second statement? Second statement, he says, we will allow all actions related to the object. So that is all object actions, whatever the actions that are associated with the object, the user should be able to perform. So it is allowed. It's the related to object. You can see the user can create a bucket, delete a bucket. Here you can see the pattern star object. What is the meaning of star object? Star object in the sense anything preceding before the object. Like list object, delete object, create object. You should be able to do any actions specific to an object inside this bucket. You can create a bucket. Sorry, he can create an object. He can read an object. He can write an object. He has read and write access to the specific bucket. And what kind of actions? All the actions related to the object. Now, let's go ahead and confirm the closing of this. So people have understood the way of writing the requirement given to you into a specific or a custom policy. If you have understood it, can I expect a quick confirmation from everyone so that I can proceed further, that I can create
So,
policy now?
yeah, 1 minute, please. So, Abdul Hadi here. So, we are giving a read and write access to a specific bucket, to a user for a specific bucket.
Okay,
Yeah, so in SID, first one, list objects in bucket, and the second one, all objects actions. So, what is the
okay.
difference between these two actions? I mean, these two codes or anything?
So here you can see list bucket, what actions a user can perform. There are multiple buckets. So he should be able to list buckets in it or do one thing. Let me just close this policy writing. Let's evaluate how this policy is different when I attach this policy. It should be easy for you to understand by applying this policy. Let's apply this policy. Okay, and then let's see what this policy can do. Review this policy. So if you get any errors here, then the policy is not right. You don't, I didn't get any kind of error here. I'm just doing this specific access to S3, specific access or customized policy. Okay, I given a name and I've gone ahead and create this policy. The policy gets created. What is this kind of policy? This kind of policy is not owned by AWS, but this is policy that you have created for yourself. This policy you have created for yourself. So where do you find this policy? If you go ahead and filter this policy, it will be available under your customer management because something that you are creating for yourself as per your requirement. What I'm going to do is, people, I'm just going to go ahead back to the user that I've created, who's Ravi now in this case. And Ravi, As I mentioned, Ravi was able to access all buckets and contents of all the buckets, but he was only read only. If you want, I'll give a double confirmation. Yeah, he's able to read the contents of other bucket, which I don't want him to do that. Look at another bucket. He's able to read the contents of the bucket, which I don't want to do that. If you want, we can read this one. I don't want to do that now. I don't want to do that. My aim is you should access the contents of one specific bucket. That is this argument. So now how can I get it done? Now I have to attach this. I have to remove this policy. What I'll do is I'll remove this policy. If I go ahead and attach this policy, the policy gets detached. Right now the user doesn't have any policy. Ravi doesn't have any policy. Let's see when he doesn't have any policy, what kind of scenario that he will face. See that when he doesn't have any policy, he is getting an error clearly mentioning that Mr. Ravi, you don't have permission to list the package. Dear people, step number one, the first method is not able to receive anything. Getting now, I want to attach the newly created policy that I've written. So add permissions. The policy that I've written is available here. So I'll just say attach the existing policies directly because that is a policy that I've written. You will not be able to find the policy unless until you filter that policy. And you'll see there is a customer managed policy. Select that policy and attach this policy to the user Ravi, who's the new user in this case, and review this policy. And we have attached the policy. Now, user got customized policy S3. Customized policy for S3. Now let's go and check what kind of actions Mr. Ravi can perform. Before it was no permissions to the user. Now let's go ahead and check what permissions user can perform. Just doing a quick refresh. I'm inside Ravi account. Ravi-Bachelor24. I'm user. Why is that Ravi is not able to list any of the buckets? Did I attach user properly? Customized policy for S3. Why like that? It does take some time. No, it is quick and fast. It's immediate. The actions are immediate. Let me just check back once again. He should be able to list the buckets, but when he go and check, he should not be able to access the contents of the bucket. Strange. You or your administrator have updated the permission. Refresh this page. I'm doing that. Let me do one thing. Let me just sign out from this account. Let me just check because of any existing cookies. It is not allowing me. Let me do another sign in once again. It does happen sometime. Ravi in this case. And the password. So what I'm expecting or what should we expect as this policy is he should access our Kumar bucket and the contents of that bucket. Okay, thank you. Let me check. Did I attach the policy? Customized policy for S3. User section. So it is not getting through. Let me double check. Did I in the policy properly. JSON method list the objects. At least I should be able to list the buckets itself instead of accessing. Let me do one thing, people. I'll create another user similar to Ravi. I just check with this new policy. Is this something which what is not allowing user to get access? Let me do that once again. So I'll create another user and attach this policy. I don't think so, but let me give a try. Now I'll create another user for Ravi. So that let's see, and I'll give him access, console access. I'm attaching the policy directly for this user, which is now customized policy. And I could see the policy that I am holding now, customized policy for S3, which is something which is written by me. Review this policy and create a user. Kiran is the new user, which I would like to log in. Just check, is this issue with the policy that I've written, or is the issue with, or is that issue of any other kind? Let me just go ahead and sign out. I'm trying to check people. I'm trying to check the issue. What exactly is it that? Even this is how my day-to-day job, people. I have to write policies. Sometimes policies don't work, so I have to check various possibilities, identifying why the policy is not working. We use policy simulator. We use a lot of things to check whether this policy is working or not. I just gave you one such scenario. So once again, checking back ES3. If this issue persists, if the issue is still persistent, then it is the issue with the policy that I've written. Yes, I can see for both the users, I'm getting this error that says you don't have permissions to list a bucket. Okay, so let me just check that. That means both the users, Ravi and Kiran, are attached with this policy. Both of them are getting the same privileges, that is, they are not able to access. So let's once again understand the policy that we have written and the issue with that policy. Why like that? I don't see any kind of issue with this policy. So let me double check this policy once again. So in this statement number 1, I am allowed to list a bucket. Okay. Let me double check. Is there any kind of mistake that I've done here? Let me copy this once again. So it is like read and write object to specific bucket, correct? So let me copy this, put it inside my console. I have to replace with the bucket. The name of the bucket that I want is this one. So this is a specific bucket that users should get access to and contents inside that specific bucket. Okay, so let me just try the next one. I'm expecting, I'm expecting that here there is a word called includes console. So what I'll do, people, is I'll just go ahead and I'll also add another statement here. This is a statement. What is the purpose of the statement? I now understood the purpose of the statement. I'll tell you what kind of understanding that I got. Here he said the console access. So inside the console access, I should be able to get these things done. Now you'll see it will work. I'll explain it. Just let me just confirm this, whether this is because of the console limitation. Let me just review this policy. Hope no issues into it. Now you can see different versions do exist whenever you make some changes. So this one I'll set it as default. You'll see two versions of the policy. The policy version number 1 we have just written about 10 minutes ago. This is a version, and now there is a new version. I'll set my new version as a default one. This is a default. Now I'm expecting things will work. How? Let's give it a try. There you go. So user is now able to list all the buckets, but when he go ahead, when Ravi, I guess not Ravi, what's his name? Kiran. When Kiran has logged in, he's able to see the buckets, but when he attempts to access a specific bucket which is not given access to him, clearly error denied. There is a denial for this. Next, let's go ahead and check another bucket. Let's go ahead and check Bob's bucket. He should get error denied, access denied. People, are you now understanding the purpose? If you have understood the purpose, people can expect a quick round of confirmation from every one of you there. Now, when he looks into another bucket, he will be able to access the contents of this bucket. Why? User is able to content, Mr. Kiran is able to access the contents of this bucket because he is given access to read and write to this specific bucket, whereas he is not given access to see the contents of any other bucket. That's why it is called customized specific access. So I'm giving access to a specific bucket. If you people have understood now the purpose, can I expect a quick round of confirmation from every one of you there? Clear, people? Now I'll explain you why I was not able to get for the first time and why could I get for the second time. Because there is an idea of console coming in. So inside the console, he has given access to get all the buckets, list all the buckets. So let me just try. Can he list only a specific bucket instead of all the buckets? Let's try. Let's try and check what would happen to this user when he go ahead and update the policy of instead of listing all the bucket, he should I'm just trying it. Instead of listing all the buckets, all the resources, I want him to get access only one specific bucket. Let me just try and check whether this is workable for me or no. Let me just try. So the policy that is written here under the JSON object. My aim is whatever the resource that I have. This is the resource section. Under the resource section, I want him to list buckets. I'll not disturb this and let me try whether this will work or no. This will be another learning for us. Okay. This policy defines some actions, resources that do not provide permissions. So, grant access policies must have action. That means this is not right. Let me double check. Listing all the buckets. If I don't give list, then it will not go through, and it is saying list all buckets. How can I get this thing done? I can use editor for this. Let me try whether the editor will get through. Editor makes it easier for you to understand what kind of access do you want. So under the list, he's saying list all the buckets. Fine. Get buckets. So let me try, even if it is a warning. Let me try and check. Can I add another line of security here? There is no harm in trying it. So what I'm trying to get it at people in an additional step is that instead of listing all the buckets, let me just list only this specific bucket and access to that specific bucket. So this was another line that I wanted to try. Whether I'll be successful or no, let me just do it. Right. So I've done this policy. The policy is done. Whether the policy version did get picked up, yes, it did pick. I think it is a warning. Let me try once again. Do a quick refresh inside Kiran's account. Okay, yeah, it is now not getting through this. Why is that it's not getting through this? Is not I'm not able to. Kiran is not able to see the buckets in it. Let's apply this policy, which is the policy that I've written previous to this, which is the version 2. I'll set this one as default. It should be this version now. And let me try to refresh this. You should now list all the buckets. This is okay. Let me just confirm the policy method. One method action and specific resources got removed. Now I got all the objects in it. Then it is working. Okay. So if it is list with all the buckets, then I have to list this one. If I don't even use this method, if I don't use this method, if I don't use this object here, then it will not even work inside my console, right? So people, have you understood the purpose of custom policies, and have you understood now how to write a custom policy? People can expect a quick round of confirmation from everyone there regarding the idea of custom policies and how to write a custom policy meeting out your requirements.
Rachela, hi, Puru here. So, just wanted to know, like, using two different this statement identification one, can't we just merge both in one, like making one array in the statement ID and making this list object and allow object in the same array, and again effect and action will be the same along with the resource.
I guess it is good that we let me understand how to write this in a combined mode. Right. So here, my best understanding is that one part of the action the documentation gave is to identify the bucket level access, and the second statement was speaking about the objects inside the net. So it is better that you differentiate the object level access to that of bucket level access by writing two different statements.
Okay.
Yes, we can do that, but I believe it is easier to handle things by handling buckets at one level and objects at other level. See that one level of actions are related to bucket is listing a bucket, and other level of object is focusing on the object level. Clear, Puru?
Okay, yeah, sure.
Right. So if you are not interested to use JSON method of writing a policy, I know most of you don't want this method. You can attempt by using a visual editor method. How? It is even much simpler than what you have attempted using the JSON method. How? Very, very simple. Go ahead and click policy section here. Create a policy here. Instead of using JSON method, pick up the editor method. Choose a service. In this case, our service is to be picked as S3. So I picked up S3 now. And under the S3, what kind of actions would you like your user to perform? So I want my user to perform only read access, and I want my user to perform write access, read and write access. If you want to even narrow down those, you can do that. What kind of buckets you should be able to read and write. So under that, you can customize your requirement by mentioning the specifications, what kind of specific bucket, and may. So he's asking what kind of specific bucket that you want your user to get access. So this is the bucket that I want my user to get access. Now you're customizing your requirement to a bucket level. Next, object. My focus is on the object. Add any array. So object can be identified by like this. First the bucket. This is the bucket name, and any object inside this bucket. And now I have a bucket and I have an object to identify. Then you can specify review a policy. Now this is my visual editor, custom policy using visual. And then create a policy. The policy is created. You'll see the new policy coming up here under the customer managed. So policy number 2, and there you go. Now the good thing is instead of using JSON method, the visual editor method makes it easier because you'll get a policy just like policy that we've created now, and also the JSON script for it also. You'll get see the JSON script very much written by the visual editor itself. I did not write this policy. I did not document the JSON method, but this JSON method was given by me. When I write my resource method, it has given me the JSON method. When I use the visual editor method, JSON was part of the script that I've written. So can I expect a quick round of confirmation from everyone regarding the different methods of writing your own policies, people? If you want to trim down, if you want more and more trimming down to be done, you can even go ahead and get things done under your uh, actions when you're doing this actions. So just once again show you the policy under that policy, create a policy, and you can see if you are specific. Now under S3 method, you can trim down to even I will only allow the user to read, that's all. Another read, what other actions? Okay, now so there is another method, people. I'll give you this one. I think This is only specific to S3, which I call it as policy simulator. Using this policy generator, I'll give you this one. I've been learning specific to S3. You can do that for S3. Let me give you create or inside any other bucket. When you go into the permission section, you see something called bucket policy. Hit this bucket policy, scroll a little bit, and you see there's an option called policy generator. This also generates the policy for you. Whatever the policy that you have written, you can generate. So I found this one, which was even easier for me. So what kind of policy that you want to write? I would like to write a policy related to S3, that too bucket policy. Okay. After this, what kind of action do you want to bring? Allow or deny? I want to bring allowance. If you have any specific kind of principle, you can. Principle is nothing but to whom you want to attach this policy. Start. Next, after this, you can say what kind of S3 related action. I'll say all the actions. You can select all the actions and the resource name. This is the name of the resource. I'll just continue giving the name. This is something which I've been using for myself, so it is up to you people if you want to use it, if you want to write any kind of specific market access related policies. And add a statement. Now, policy statement gets generated. So what is the difference between this policy and this policy? Is this policy that we have written is customized policies that we have written to meet resources requirement. In this method of policy that I've shown you, this is related to a specific resource like S3 and policies related to that bucket. You're writing bucket level policies now, not resource level bucket, but you're writing at the bucket level. So for this bucket, I want all the users to get access. So there is a difference between those two. In the first method, which we have learned, this method is something like we have picked up the resource S3 and we have started to write. In this, we have started to pick the resource already, and for this resource, what kind of actions the user can perform. There's a difference between that. If you have understood the difference, can I expect a quick round of confirmation, people, from everyone there? Hello, people, are you with me? Okay, so this one you can use. So there, as I mentioned, different methods. Method one, you can pick a resource and give an access to it. You can pick action, or you can pick the resource and you can write a policy for it. Now, I wanted to discuss in the last session a little more about AWS CLI. Using this CLI, I'm going to create something for you people. What I want to create is this, or first thing, AWS S3 and LS. If you people have typed it, if you've written this command, what does it do for you? It should list buckets held by me in my Rajarlas account. It has listed all the 6 buckets. I want to do a file upload. Very simple.
Here I have a issue. Hi, Sudhir here.
Okay.
Yeah, when I'm trying to list out the things, right, like buckets, right, I'm getting like unable to locate credentials. You can configure credentials running AWS configure. So, is there any specific configuration we need to do?
Right. There are 2 possibilities. Possibility number 1 is you might have multiple users, like the users you have in your system. You might have installed AWS CLI in one user. You might have installed, I'm expecting, you might have installed in one user, or you might install in one user and checking in other user. That is possibility number one. When it is saying it is not able to identify credentials. If you have only one user where you have installed it, that means your credentials that you have do not have, or you haven't configured them. Assume that you have configured them. That means the policy behind it is not working. Another possibility is that how to understand it. It's clearly saying it is not able to get those credentials. What are the possibilities? Two possibilities. One, you may have installed your AWS CLI, but maybe attached to some other user. Maybe you have installed, let's say,
I checked the other user as well. It's not working for it also. So I just checked.
yes. Now, if it is not that case, that means AWS CLI got installed successfully. So what you can do here is you can go ahead and type once again this command AWS configure. Make sure that you have written your access key, your secret access key, and your region and format of it. Can you go ahead and check whether these keys are given successfully into it? When you have written a command AWS configure, it should respond to you giving your access. If these system is array, if this
No, key ID is not there.
yeah, that's what you have to enter your access key, you have to configure your secret access key, you have to enter your region, you have to paste, you have to copy and paste it here. It's like it will ask you, so it will ask your input, so paste your access key. So access key will be something like a large number. For that, you have to create now a user for yourself, get your credentials, input those credentials. Yes, Sudhir? Shall I proceed?
Yeah, you can proceed. Actually, I did this earlier, but I don't know why it not work. I will check this thing once again. Okay, thank you.
Do that. Now, let's do one thing. Let me just go ahead to my desktop, and what I want to do is I want this file, the keypad, to be uploaded into my S3. I want this to be uploaded into Bob's account, Bob's bucket. Without logging into the console, I want to do that. So I'll show you for you. AWS S3. Can you go ahead and copy? What is that I need to copy? This key pair into S3 the name of the bucket, followed by the same name if possible. Now, what is that I'm trying to do here? I'm trying to not to use console. I'm not using console. Without using console, I'll be able to do a file upload now. Check in your Bob's account. It's empty. Yes, it is empty. Now I picked up a command. The command summary is like this: AWS S3. If you go ahead and copy the key pair, right now it is available on my desktop. Go ahead and copy into Bob's account with a given name, keypair-ohio.pem. So now what I'm expecting this operation to be successful. Yes, it has uploaded. Okay. Let's do a quick check for this. And there you go. It is uploaded. 909. 909. Can I expect a quick round of confirmation from all of you people regarding this action and the operation from this? And I'll tell you how did I get this thing done for you. This is very, very important because it is not that you always do these things using console. You will also have to do sometimes using CLI. How it is done. For that, you need to get a little understanding of what is this AWS CLI. CLI, let's start to explore the commands relevant to it. What you can do here is you can say AWS, I would need your help. That's all. When you ask the help, AWS says, I'm ready to. So under this, you can specify what kind of support you need. I'm looking forward to run with S3. See that? All the services are available here. Let's pick specific services related to the S3. S3. I would like to take assistance for S3. Press Q, you will come out of that. AWS S3, I would need your help. That means whatever the relevant commands, CLI commands that you want, you can get that. AWS S3 space help. Now we start listing you all the supported actions for S3. See that? It is giving you the actions. Make a bucket, remove a bucket, list a bucket, right? Now you can also perform actions related to the S3. So S3 related actions, copy. Okay, press Q will come out of it. AWS S3 copy. I need a help. Now look at the command. The command is given keywords that they use and followed by the keyword you will get an example that can better make you understand how this. So the following command, or like what does the example say? Copying a local file. I need to copy a local file. Like right now I had a file called keypair. I uploaded it to S3. So the following command, cp command, copies a single file to a specified bucket. And here is the syntax: AWS S3 copy the file name followed by S3 path for the bucket and the object name. Can I download that file from S3? Of course, yes, you can. How? It was this way. Copy a file from S3 to local. How can I copy it? Here it is. Copying an S3 bucket or object, copying an S3 object from another object, like to a local file. Here it is. Or it is trying to download that file. Like I'm trying to get a copy of that object local to my desktop. Can I? The answer is yes. People now understood the idea of S3. If you're not able to get these things done using your console method, we got browser method. So copy files to S3 using AWS CLI. This is the one way. Now the documentation also have the relevant commands specific to AWS S3. Now you came up to copy. See that? You get an example, you'll get a clear picture of how these commands work. AWS S3 copy a local file, which is a test file, to an S3 under the name of my bucket and given how to get a copy of that file back to S3, file back to local file. Just instead of giving the object name, give the bucket name, give a name for it. You will kind of get another quick round of confirmation from everyone there regarding the idea of S3 now and the actions related to S3 and the usage of CLI. Can you people help me to navigate now if you have understood? Can you help me an IAM command to create a user, IAM user? People take a moment and please do get me a command name. Get me a command so that I will run that command for you if you are able to give me, and I'll show you what is the usage of that command. Please go ahead and find. That is like creating an IAM user called Bob. I want to create a user called Bob. Please give me a command from your search, and I'll run that command for you right away at this moment. Take a moment and get back to me. Anyone could spot the command? Okay, so Guru gave me the command AWS IAM create a user. Okay, so let me write it and enter. Now this is you need the other part of the command. You gave the command, but the other part of the command is to create a user. So AWS IAM create a user. For this, I need little more help for this. Yeah, it listed to it gave me the response. Let me understand the other part of the command. See that it is asking you can create a user, yes, but you should also specify what is the name of that user. In this case, it's bot. You user name is bot now. Now user got created Bob. I don't want to use console for now in this moment. I want to list the users, how many users I have. Can you people spot me what are the command or what is the command with which I can list my users? I want to list my users. AWS, IAM, anyone? List hyphen users. How many users? Bob, Kiran, myself, and Ravi. 4 users. Let you guys confirm inside the console how many users now have. How many users now I have? 4 users. I should go on the users section. Bob, Kiran, Prachalla, and Ravi. Can I delete? I want to delete Bob, Kiran, and Ravi. I want to delete Bob. How can I delete it, people? Yes, delete. Uh, hyphen user name Bob. But I have to specify who is this name, delete, user, and name. Bob. I think I have written the command mistake. AWS IAM delete hyphen user and user name, whose name is Bob. This time it is expected to work. It did work. Now I can confirm what are the list of users, right? How many users should I have people now? How many number of users are you expecting now? 3 in number. Instead of 4 now, 3 in number. Bob is deleted. Kiran, Prachalla, and Ravi. Can I expect a quick round of confirmation from everyone now regarding the importance of CLI in your?
Hi Rachala, like I have a question. So
Yeah,
while creating a user using CLI, how are the access key and I mean the access keys, I mean, the programmatic access keys given?
right. So regarding that, we have to attach that access key ID and secret key ID. There are other more relevant. Let me just get those commands. If you do a little more insights into this, AWS IAM CLI. In this IAM keys. Now policy. First we have to attach a policy. I just shown you an account. Now we have to attach a policy. Attach a policy to the user. Right after the user policy is attached, we can create access key. Here, create an access key. This method would go ahead and create an access key. Right after the access key creation, we can get the secret access key. Here.
Yeah, but
I'll give
can
you only one step.
you show it? Can you show it how it is done, like for a user?
First thing, I should have this user. Let me just
Okay.
show you how it is. It says user doesn't exist now because I think I've deleted that. Here, user with Bob is not found. So what is the step? To create a user. Now, for this user, I'm creating the access key. Create access key for this user. There you go. Access key ID and a relevant secret access key got generated for this user. Yeah.
Thank you, Rachala. Yeah.
So now let me just fine. So people, I hope you will start practicing a lot with the CLI commands, because in near future, when we go ahead and start utilizing AWS in terms of our other scenarios, especially when we go ahead and involve with third-party tools using DevOps, AWS CLI plays a very important role. And CLI command, if you have a good practice of CLI commands, it makes it easier for you to understand how third-party integrations can be achieved. So please make sure that your AWS access key ID and secret key ID, right? Get things done on kind of like you can do a lot of practice with this AWS CLI, and make sure that instead of like apart from AWS CLI, try playing a lot of actions with, especially with the customized policies. You should be good at writing customized policies. Okay, so that's all guys for today. I hope this session was informative and better understanding the idea of what is the concepts in terms of IAM users, IAM policies, IAM policies relating to the custom policies, and how do you go ahead and use in your AWS like. Right? I would request
I said drop it there. You're such a bad guy.
Please go ahead. So I would request you people, if you are looking forward to do, practice a lot, especially with the customized policies. Customized policies play very important role when you want to write policies meeting out your requirements. So play a lot of scenarios using that. If you want to understand more, you can see policies written related, a lot of policies. We have written policies, IAM policies, uh, policies related access to computers on that. So access to full access with NFA account, access to user, limiting the user. So the reason why I'm not forcing you people to do other, because you need other resources idea also. You are focusing on other policies, like you might say easy to action, you might not understand that at this moment. So especially since you're getting started, play a lot of action with S3. That is one. And the other one is especially with the AWS CLI. So please practice a lot for your as part of an assignment. You guys can start practicing a lot, especially on AWS CLI. You can write a policy where the user is getting access to a specific bucket, and he should be able to do a file upload into that S3 bucket. Like using the CLI, instead of using the console, I want you guys to attempt to do a file upload from your local to S3 bucket, which you have already seen it, but do a lot of practice with that. Okay, and coming out to the another topic for tomorrow's session, You will understand the importance. By this time, I hope you people have understood the importance of access key ID and secret key ID. But in organizations, companies wanted to minimize the access key ID and secret key ID. Now, how the minimizing of access key ID and secret key ID can be brought? How is that we can achieve it? So that is a purpose that we will discuss for tomorrow's session. So in tomorrow's session, we'll evaluate what is the better approach above access key ID and secret key ID. So that is the topic for tomorrow's discussion. I hope you'll be able to get these things done by today. And very important point I thought of adding is that none of the resources here, whether it is a user, group, role, policy, anything you create, the charge for them is big zero. There is no charge. You will not get charged for them. So practice as much as you. They are not chargeable resources, but in coming sessions you will see what kind of resources are chargeable. You'll see that. So my suggestion: practice a lot on these commands. Practice a lot with this custom policies and the better security over this access key ID and secret key ID. That is the task or the topic for tomorrow's session. That's all, guys, for today. Admin, I'm done for the day.